Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Russell here, and if you've been following the channel, you'll probably already know that I've been doing more and more research on the cryptocurrency space as I seek to sort of develop that investment thesis behind my position in cryptocurrency. And at the very same time, I've been keeping an eye out for specifically Canadian cryptocurrency exchanges that could be helpful in a variety of ways as I sort of dollar cost average into the cryptocurrency market. And when one of those Canadian exchanges, VirgoCX, reached out to me to take a look at their platform, I told them I'd only do so if I could look at the positives and the things that needed a little bit of improvement. So that's exactly what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to cover some of the most important things to consider when you're choosing a cryptocurrency exchange, such as the range of cryptocurrencies they offer for you to buy on the platform, the fees and a comparison of those fees to other cryptocurrency brokerages, how easy to use the platform is, the general user experience, as well as the security and whether or not it's actually safe to use. And there are going to be timestamps down there in the description of the video so you can hop to whichever part you're most concerned about. Let's start where you'll likely start if you choose to go with VirgoCX, the sign up and registration process. Now, compared to all of the different exchanges and platforms that I've used here in Canada for trading cryptocurrency, VirgoCX was one of the easiest to sign up for. I was able to get my entire account created and verified in just one evening, and was able to start using the platform after that very quickly. I know some other people have had negative experiences at different exchanges with the verification process and how that has taken quite a long time. So that's going to be something positive to hear about VirgoCX. Another factor I was super happy to see VirgoCX implement here is multi-factor authentication, an additional step for you to log into the cryptocurrency platform. It's super important to have this extra step because if your password was ever compromised, well, people may have access to the cryptocurrency that you have stored on the platform, which is never a good thing unless it's someone you actually want to have that authorization. So I'm glad that they have this email verification step. The next thing you'll be wondering once you're logged in here and you're inside of the dashboard is, hey, what does the process for funding my account actually look like? Am I going to be charged any fees as I move my currency into this platform? Certain platforms do have a fee when you're adding your money into your account for the very first time, but with VirgoCX, that's not something that is happening here. We see here you have two different options for funding your account: Interac e-transfer, just an e-transfer from your bank account, and that has a maximum of $10,000 and it happens instantly. And then you also do have the option for the wire transfer, also free, but you can transfer larger sums of money. And they also on VirgoCX have an over-the-counter service for larger cryptocurrency transactions. So if you're somebody who's looking to input a whole bunch of money into the cryptocurrency market, well, this could be a good brokerage to do that at because they do have a full service ability to do that. So no fees for that adding the money to the account. But when we go over here for Canadian dollar withdrawal, and we're going to get to this in a bit, we do see a 0.5% fee on that Canadian dollar withdrawal, but there are certain situations where that's not going to be a huge problem. And as an added benefit for people who want this, there's a 24-hour customer support option where you can reach people through live chat if you're having any issues with your account, and they should be able to sort out most problems for you. Once you fund your account, likely the next thing you're going to want to do is buy some cryptocurrency. And VirgoCX does offer a pretty good range of different cryptocurrencies that you can buy on the platform, and we'll go over them now. They offer Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, USDC, Pax Gold, Stellar, Doge, DAI, and Uniswap. Now, I believe they've recently added Doge, and this is something that's a little bit trickier to get with a Canadian-based platform. Not as many cryptocurrency platforms here in Canada offer this at this time. And in fact, some cryptocurrency platforms that are among the most popular only offer Bitcoin and Ethereum. And when compared to that, well, certainly this is a wide range of selections. Now, you might know that my personal investment strategy for Bitcoin as well as other cryptocurrencies is to buy it and hold it for the extreme long term, 10, 20 years. But if you're somebody who's looking to do swing trading or a little bit more short-term plays in the cryptocurrency space, well, VirgoCX does give you the market data to do so. Here you can see up to the minute data, and you have lots of controls here over what data you're seeing, and it even does give you the candlesticks here. So if you're looking to evaluate different price points and different support levels with some of this more short-term trading strategy, well, then VirgoCX is a great place to get that data, something that a lot of other cryptocurrency brokerages are a little lacking on. And another important thing to note, which I think is a nice feature here, is that you're able to put in market orders and limit orders. Now, most places you'll be able to put in market orders, but limit orders are a little bit different. Essentially, you can set the price that you want to buy the cryptocurrency for, and the order won't actually execute unless it's underneath that limit. But I think the most important aspect to consider when you're picking a cryptocurrency exchange, well, it's likely the fees and how much you're actually going to spend to use it. So let's go over and take a look here at VirgoCX's fee chart here on their website. So we already talked about, hey, funding your account, there's not going to be any fee. This is a little bit better than places like BitBuy, where I believe for e-transfer you have to pay the 0.5%, right, on your deposit into the account. Now we do see here a fee of 0.5% on the withdrawal of cryptocurrency back into Canadian dollars. So that's a little bit of a downside. We're going to get into a little bit more detail comparing that to other brokerages and how the fees actually stack up in just a moment. And then you can see here there is a minimum of $500 if you want to fund with US dollars, but it is nice that it gives you that ability to fund with US dollars and then a similar sort of fee for withdrawing US dollars. Now, it does get a little bit more interesting when we get into the withdrawals of cryptocurrency from VirgoCX into an external wallet. It's just keeping it in kind, right? Transferring Bitcoin from this wallet to a different wallet. There is a small fee, but it gets a little bit interesting here because all of these fees for these withdrawals, they're actually covering the gas and the processing fees for that individual network. If you're somebody who's traded Ethereum before in the past, it's at times been very, very expensive in terms of gas fees to transfer this currency. But here on VirgoCX, that's actually covered inside of these transaction fees or these withdrawal fees. You can see right here, it's an important thing that they note here in the fine print, that the transaction/gas fees will be charged by their respective networks. Fees charged by VirgoCX will cover all network transaction/gas fees for outbound transactions. So essentially, the fee that they're charging you to have this outbound transaction, this withdrawal from this wallet to a separate one, well, it's being covered by these fees instead of you paying the individual gas price, which could fluctuate up and down over time based on the demand on that cryptocurrency's current network. Now, in previous videos, we've talked about how cryptocurrency exchanges make their money on you, and there's generally two different models, right? The first one is using a lot of fees, and the second one is with spread, right? The amount of money that you'll pay for Bitcoin is a little bit little bit higher than the amount of money that they will buy the Bitcoin back from you at, and they make money on this spread. Now, every different platform has a different spread, so now let's do a little bit of a spread comparison, and we're going to compare VirgoCX to another competitor, Newton, that I often have used in the past here, and we're going to take a look at what spread is better and how does this actually play out, and we're going to do so as if we were investing $1,000 in Bitcoin. We're going to sort of use that as our common denominator across the board between the two platforms and do a couple calculations here, and in classic nerd form, I have done this inside of a spreadsheet. Let me explain to you the key takeaways I found. Now, I got this data as of May 19th, and at that time, VirgoCX's spread was a little bit better than Newton's. You were able to buy Bitcoin for a little bit less and sell it for a little bit more. Not too bad. And we actually did this in terms of buying $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Now, if we look at the Canadian dollar value of the Bitcoin you can buy with $1,000 on each of these individual platforms, well, you'd end up a little bit ahead on VirgoCX at $990 worth, Canadian dollars worth of Bitcoin, whereas on Newton, you'd end up with $985 worth of Bitcoin after the fees and the spreads. But when we consider the withdrawal fee, well, things start to even out and even skew a little bit in Newton's favor here. But this is only going to be for the situation in which you buy a cryptocurrency, you hold it in the platform for the entirety of the time you own it, and then you sell it back for Canadian dollars and transfer this out. In this instance, Newton might be a little bit better, but for most people, I think that they're likely going to transfer their cryptocurrency from a platform like VirgoCX to potentially a wallet that could give you interest, right? Like BlockFi, there's a link in the description as well for that. That's where I hold a large portion of my portfolio, so I can get interest each month on my portfolio. So when you start to compare it in terms of withdrawing into Canadian dollars, well, it's not as great, but when you start considering it transferring that cryptocurrency to a different wallet, maybe even to like a Ledger cold storage wallet like I have here, one of the safest ways to store your cryptocurrency, then it starts to be a little bit more comparable, and we get into the actual individual withdrawal fees for different cryptocurrencies, which we're going to look at at now. You'll see here that VirgoCX for each individual cryptocurrency, well, they have a different fee attached to withdrawing that cryptocurrency to a different wallet. And right now it's 0.0005 Bitcoin. That's around 20 Canadian dollars. Now, you might say, hey, that's an additional $20 fee that I didn't expect, but you'll actually find that at many times, the fact that this covers the entirety of the transaction fee, well, most other platforms don't do that. Notably, Newton only covers $5 of the transaction fee. So if we're at a period in time, like we recently saw with Ethereum, where there's a lot of volume going on in that network and the fees go up as a result, well, this could be a better platform for you because it's already covered by the platform itself, rather than you having to foot that extra bill, which could be far greater than the $20 that's actually considered here for the withdrawal cryptocurrency fee. So as a main takeaway, Virgo had a better spread than the other brokerages we compared it to, but when we started to consider with the withdrawal fees, well, things started to add up, but that was only for transferring back to Canadian dollars. If you were transferring it to a different wallet, well, it's nice that they cover those additional fees that could skyrocket in a time of volatility and high trading volume. Now let's talk about the security options that VirgoCX provides. And once you log in and you can go into this account settings tab in the security, it'll give you some additional options here. You can add a transaction password so that even if someone gets access to your account, well, they can't complete a transaction without that password. And you can do the same thing in terms of SMS verification for that situation, as well as Google Authenticator, where you can essentially get an app on your phone that's going to randomly generate a code that you have to enter when you complete these kinds of transactions or make any security modifications. So I love to see those additional security measures taken here. And another interesting thing to note here is that they say their assets are protected by Ledger Vault. This is essentially a third-party service that allows VirgoCX to build on top of their platform, allowing for very, very secure transactions, and especially with the brand name Ledger, that's going to help in many people's books, with so many people already adopting the cold storage wallets that Ledger provides to retail investors. Overall, I think VirgoCX is a great platform to buy cryptocurrency on, especially because they have fantastic spreads when compared to other platforms. Now, that's a little bit diminished by the fact that they do have that withdrawal fee, but I think for many people in certain situations when they're going to be transferring into a different cold wallet or a hot wallet that pays interest like BlockFi, well, it's not going to really matter as much because they only charge small transaction fees when you're withdrawing a cryptocurrency in cryptocurrency form to a different wallet, and they actually cover the entirety of the network fees by paying that one fee. So even when your gas prices are high, this is going to be a relatively consistent rate that you're going to be charged, which I see as a huge plus. Add that on top of the fact that they have a wide selection of coins, lots of support, over-the-counter options for large transactions. Well, I think we've got a pretty great Canadian cryptocurrency brokerage here, and it is certainly making a play for the top spot here in Canada. And with all of that said, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of all this? Is VirgoCX a platform you already use, or do you use something else? Are there any pros and cons here that I've missed? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one, and I try to reply to as many as I possibly can. And again, shout out to VirgoCX for sponsoring this video and being so cool about me covering both the pros and the cons of the platform so that you, the viewer, can get a better idea of who this might be best for. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this video helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.
This channel is supported by viewers like you. Thanks, channel members.